how did the Bywave brand start to develop as a result of all the studying you were doing?
So Bywave, first thing is I just started sketching things that I wouldn't have thought I could do. Bro, craziest thing ever is that jacket I pulled up in today. I designed that first year of uni.
What?
Obviously, it's been changed a lot, but the actual bones of that was designed first year uni, and it was that jacket is a reference to a knight's armor. So the panels and the shape of like the structure of a knight's armor. So I remember I just sketched something up, and I remember like, obviously it's not on that one now, but I did like a sword, and that was gonna be on the back, and the panels was gonna be made out like to form a sword, and it was gonna be a puffer. So I did that in first year after watching fashion shows and seeing that the structure, like a puffer coat which has straight lines, it doesn't have to have straight lines. I've seen a jacket maybe for like Off-White or Elix, and it had like a diagonal line. I'm like, yo, so I can use diagonal lines, and then I've got this sick reference of a knight, his armor, so I can make the curves, use the panels to make that, and then so I did that first year, but I had no idea how the hell to make. It was literally impossible. It
seemed impossible,
but it was just cool.
So
Sketch it up.
At that point, you just had what they call blue sky thinking.
Yeah.
You were just drawing whatever.
Yeah.
Hey, the jacket is cold, by the way.
Jacket's crazy.
I keep looking there because Kobbi's bedroom, Jason's wearing it.
He's rocking it
put it
out.
on. He hasn't taken it off once. He's even sweating.
Nah,
Look at him.
he looks swagged out though. He looks
cold
too
still.
swagged out.
And it's mad because when you describe it meaning to represent like knight's armor, like I'm looking at it and it looks like that.
Yeah.
It's crazy. And it's interesting you say this stuff, Kobbi, because it got me thinking back to something Jerry Lorenzo was saying, where he was basically talking about eventually your resources start to meet your ideas.
Yeah.
And when you reach that point, it's just like, that's the convergence.
Bro.
So obviously you still need a lot more resource, but 3 years down the line, you've studied, you've designed different things. So now your resources meet your idea of that jacket and you've finally been able to make it. That's flipping wavy, bro.
Do you want to know something so crazy?
Go on.
Right, cool. So Jerry Lorenzo, it's Feel Good owner, isn't it? I watched an interview on Jerry Lorenzo, and he talked about he said something about just being individualistic and being yourself and like not caring about what other people think. And he said something along the lines of like, don't be imprisoned by the perception of others. Don't care.
That's where it comes from.
The back of that thing was a Jerry Lorenzo reference.
Which interview was this? The one with Karen Frost?
Nah, it wasn't an interview. It was a 10-minute video, and he's just talking about his business at Toy Factories.
Okay.
And yeah, he just said that, and I was like, bro, that's crazy.
That's crazy.
And then I designed, obviously, the moshnet. That's on the back of the moshnet. And the moshnet was kind of the piece that like took things to a different level.
I can imagine. Yeah, that's a good way. That's a good segue actually, because it leads me on to a couple questions I had from before. Because speaking about that line, don't be, what was it? Don't be.
He in the interview he was like, don't be imprisoned by the perception of others. But on the back of the moshnet it just says imprisoned by the perception of others.
Yeah. So that obviously when you were studying these designers and whatnot, did that make you start thinking about what you want the Bywave brand to mean? Because obviously when you first started describing the sort of designers you looked at, you mentioned Samuel Ross, and you was like, a Cold War is so much more than just fashion. Therefore, it represents something. It has a meaning. Do you know what I mean? So at that point, did you start to think, okay, what do I want Bywave to mean? What do I want people to feel like when they wear it and things like that?
Not the slightest. And funny thing is, I know a Cold War is deeper than garments now, but in the time I was analyzing it, I just thought it was fly clothes.
Wow.
I just thought it was fly. And then, yeah, that was it. Really.
So why did you decide to put that line on the moshnet sweater?
Bro, I actually don't know, you know. All I know is I remember listening to that interview, that hitting me like, yo, that's crazy. And then, cool, on the moshnet, it's a picture of a guy, it's a UK band called GBH. And it was from one of their concerts, guys jumping off the crowd into a mosh pit. And then, to me, a mosh pit, when I was young especially, I used to love mosh pit now. I think it was so sick in it. Like, I don't do it now. I feel like I'm too old. Like, I ain't got the energy like I used to. But a mosh pit is sick because I felt like it was one of them moments where people actually don't care what you look like and what you're doing. Everyone's just in the moment, just turning up. So to me, that was one of the few moments in life I feel like I've experienced where a lot of people aren't imprisoned by perception of others. Literally just sick. They're just turning up, having fun. So that's why I linked the passage to the piece. But it was never like, maybe there was a deeper message in it, of course, and that's how it all gelled together. But it wasn't like, I want my brand to always have deeper messages to it. It was just, this piece is sick. This all makes sense to me. Yeah. So yeah.
I think the mustard sweater is wavy. Yeah, it's sick. Bro, it's interesting you said that's the piece that you would say took the brand to another level, because I feel the same. Because obviously I'd seen, but I don't know if it was out by the time I had come across your stuff.
Therefore.
It was out, yeah?
Therefore, yeah.
It was definitely out, yeah?
Funny enough, the Moshnet was technically the second drop. Yeah. Second drop ever was a Moshnet.
Okay. So, one, I got two questions, and it reminds me of a question that I had from before. And I feel like you kind of answered it inadvertently without realizing, because you were speaking about studying those designers and learning about different types of materials. And that one thing I've really liked about seeing your brand since I first come across it is that you experiment with different stuff from a very, very early point. Whereas a lot of designers I've seen that in a similar point to you are still doing the same stuff they were doing from the start. No issues with that, but you've really experimented with materials and whatnot. One, why have you done that? And my second question is, why do you think the Moshnet sweater took the brand to another place? What was it about that sweater that resonated with people?
Which one should I answer first? I'll answer the material question first. Bro, just no limits to anything. Just, I feel like, one, it's when you want to provide something different, you have to look at different materials. It's natural, isn't it? That's the basis of a garment. And because my process as a designer isn't quote unquote traditional, as in like I don't go to a fabric store. Like I have to go and find like references or pictures of a material I want. There's no limit to it. I can find any crazy material or wax or coat and test it out. So it's that combination of no limit on myself and also wanting to provide something else to different people, isn't it?
Was it daunting experimenting with these different materials?
The crazy thing to me, I don't even feel like I've used that many materials. Okay. I feel like everything to me has been cotton based. Obviously, now I'm slowly getting into it. Like I've done more stuff. But daunting stuff, it's just interesting, bro. Yeah. Like it's just fun. When that sample lands, like I have no idea how this is gonna look like. I remember the side bag, the first one, because that was my first time using nylon, and I thought it was sick. The first bag, the first version, and then I used it bears, and I slowly stopped using it. And then I was like, this bag isn't as sick as I think, because I have a Prada bag and I have a 40F bag, and I choose the Prada bag. If I'm stepping out, I wear the Prada bag. So I went back, I talked to the manufacturer, and we talked about having like a nylon that has more structure to it, and then changing the shape. We did a lot of things, but yeah, the main thing was the shape of the nylon. So when I got the 40F bag that is ready to drop and has dropped now, I wear that over the Prada one. Like I chose it over. That's when I knew, okay, we can drop this, is because I don't want to wear my Prada one now. I want to wear the 40F. So yeah, first going into the material, when you're patient with everything, it's not daunting. It's just like, now we're going to have this procedure of me learning about you and learning how you need to be used.
Thank you for watching another episode of Where's My Podcast. If you ever want to take in future episodes on the go, you can find us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Whilst you're there, please leave us a 5-star review. It would really help. And also, don't forget to follow us on our Instagram, WMTV_LDN, to keep up to date with the latest goings on in UK fashion. Keep it locked.